Well, I think a good place to start is Boogie Fland committing to Florida. This is definitely a guy I think Florida really needed to land, just considering if they didn't, I think they probably would have had to go the international route and landing a guy who could have played that lead guard spot. And I definitely think it's important because it takes a lot of pressure off Xavier Lee, just because, again, you really don't know how mid-major Ivy League guys are going to play till they get to the high major level when you actually see them play. But Josh, I'll ask you for some of your initial thoughts to getting the news about Boogie Fland committing to Florida.
I think it's a big deal. Honestly, kind of wondered if Boogie was gonna stay or not. I personally thought he was gonna leave. This has been one of the more surprising returns, if you're gonna ask me. And then him almost immediately going to Florida kind of raises an eyebrow. I felt like there was a little bit more under the covers to that. But regardless of the matter, I think Boogie fits a beautiful role there. He has the previous SEC experience, so he actually knows how the conference works for the most part. And it's Florida. It's Todd Golden. It's a very well strung up program as of right now. And he fits a beautiful role in that top, like that starting five. I think Florida is back in business. They're three, maybe two seed at most. And this is without Alex Condon. Like, this might be the reason Alex Condon comes back and Florida goes to that.
Yeah, and I mean we talked about in the last video we did together where if they were able to land Boogie Fland and get Alex Condon back, then they are definitely in the mix to go back to back for sure. I still very much think that. And we'll wait to see what happens with Alex Condon. I think me and Josh are both kind of in the boat where we believe he's probably going to come back. But again, getting Boogie Fland is huge, just considering getting a point guard who started in the SEC last year, which was the best conference in the country. He's a guy who averaged 13, almost 14 points per game, 5 assists. So of course, he's going to bring some playmaking. He brings a lot of tough shot making. The one thing that does kind of concern me a little bit was that Arkansas started 0-5 in SEC play with Boogie Fland until he got hurt, where they kind of were able to figure some things out. Instead of having three guys in the backcourt that are a little frustrated and maybe not super certain what their roles are, when Boogie Fland went down, he kind of was able to change things. When Boogie Fland went down, they were able to kind of like, what's his name? Forget
Are you
blanking on the name right
thinking
now.
Kevin Knox? Or
Not yeah, both Knox and Nelly Davis. Nelly Davis was the
yeah,
guy. They were both kind of able to get into their own a little bit, start seeing the ball a little bit more, and that concerns me a little bit. But Boogie Fland again, he wasn't the most efficient scorer from the field last year, nor from three. But like I just mentioned, he's able to do a lot off the dribble. He can get to his spots, elevate, hit tough mid range shots. And I definitely think he's an NBA player. Whether, of course, he decided to come back to school. Probably could have won in the first round if he stayed in the draft. But I definitely think if he has a big year in Gainesville, he could definitely go into the late lottery, or maybe even top 10 next year. We'll see what happens with that. But again, I think it was a really big pickup. And now I want to ask you, do you think Florida has a top five backcourt between Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee now?
I'd say so. I don't know if Xavier Lee is going to be the number one option on this team, regardless of the Condon decision. I think I might actually just go to Boogie at this point. But it's an amazing backcourt and front court, I feel, too. Thomas Howe is definitely going to be leveling the playing field on both sides. We're going to see probably growth from Michael Hamilton and the now not redshirt Oliver Rowe, who's 7'9", just putting it out there. I don't think he's going to be as big of a guy as some people might hype him up to be. No pun intended on that one. But I think there is definitely size, and there is without a doubt good shooting now that Boogie Fland is there. So
Right.
Gainesville is going to be a great place to watch college basketball next year, as if it already wasn't.
Most definitely. I mean, yeah, they're definitely right back in the mix to go back to back, I think. And like I just talked about, I definitely feel like Florida would have been in a tough spot if Xavier Lee kind of is, I don't know if go-to guy's the right word, just considering all the talent they have in their starting lineup, assuming that Alex Condon does come back. I mean, you have Ruben Chinnilu, you mentioned Oliver Rio, and Tommy Howe, of course, and Clavs are coming off the bench, bringing some shooting, but I definitely think it's better to have Xavier in kind of a, I don't want to say backseat, again, that's not the right word, but maybe, a secondary option to Boogie Fland, where Boogie Fland can be the, both guys are going to bring a lot of playmaking. Xavier averaged around 5-6 assists last year at Princeton. So they're going to have a lot of playmaking. They're going to have a lot of ball handling. I mean, both guys are great ball handlers. But again, I definitely think there's an adjustment when you jump up a level in college basketball going to the high major level. And I just don't know if right away that might have been too much on Xavier Lee's plate for him to handle. So I think having Boogie Fland is going to be big.
Yeah, no, Xavier has worried me a little bit. I think we talked before about how he doesn't really fit at the high major level that I thought he was going to, but at the same time, SEC was probably the best conference for him to go to, high
Right.
major, and I think Florida could work out pretty well for him. And then, yeah, Boogie Fland, I think once again, he should be the number one option, but right behind him is Xavier Lee. And if Condon does come back, then we do have a little bit of a change, but I really don't see the difference between 1, 2, and 3. They can really bounce off of each other and make for a really diverse starting lineup.
Yeah. And I would just say for Florida overall, I know a lot of people have concerns about Tommy Howe being able to play the three. I do understand where those concerns come from, just because, some people said Todd Golden might see Howe play a game or two at the three and say, all right, maybe this isn't the right role to have him in. But I definitely think Thomas Howe is capable of doing that. Like I've talked about already, I think he's going to be the potential All-American on this upcoming Florida team this year. But again, I think he's going to be able to handle it. I think they bring so much size. Boogie Fland is a little undersized at the point spot, but Xavier Lee brings good height at the two. And of course, between the 3 and the 5, I mean, they're so tall, so big, lengthy. So that's definitely going to help. And I would just say Florida probably needs to get 1 or 2 more bench pieces to back up Clavzar coming off the bench. Probably, preferably wings, guards who can come in and bring shooting, high level defense. And I think Florida's in a great position to potentially repeat next year.
Without a doubt, I agree.